Hello, race fans and hot rodders. I am very excited to be the Boston Comedy Festival. 21 years in the business. Before people performed in virtual rooms and during these in the interweb and all this stuff, and now here we are. It's very exciting, and I thank you all for joining us. And I'm very, very grateful today. We have a great guest. Everybody likes this guy. He does all kinds of different things, and I'm going to just start out with talking to him a little bit about Boston, because that's something we both know a little something about. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Adam Ferrara. Let him know. And that's deafening applause there, Adam. You're still on mute. Woo! 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 We got a little bit there.
Yeah.
Hey. All right.
Am I all right? Am I muted?
Perfect.
All right, good. Thank you guys for having me. Jim, good to see you guys, and thank you guys for being here.
First thing I want to ask you is, you're not only acting all the time, but you're also doing a lot of stand-up. And now with all this COVID stuff, what have you been up to lately?
I did a couple of drive-in shows. Have you done any of those yet?
I haven't. Weirdly enough, I've done some shows indoors in the last couple of weeks. But go ahead, you'll
be dead in a week. I did the first one I did was in San Diego to benefit the Boys and Girls Club. And so I go down there, and it's a drive-in. You're standing there. There are people listening to you on your radio. I'm standing on stage, and they got me on the big screen. My mole looked like a ring ding. It was just, I'm sitting on stage. I'm looking like, what is that thing on my face? I have got to get that checked. So they don't laugh. You know what they do is you're working. They blink the lights and honk their horns. So you're basically working oncoming traffic. That's what you're doing. So I'm sitting there, I'm doing the drive, and what saved me, Jim, was there was a bunch of Top Gear fans who came down in pickup trucks and backed their trucks up into the parking spots and took lawn chairs and put their lawn chairs in the bed of the trucks and sat out and watched the show so I could hear the laughter. So I got a sense of rhythm and timing of it. But it was fun. Once I figured out how to do it, it was fun. I did a couple of other outdoor ones. I did the Denver Comedy Works early on. Because they didn't shut down right away. So we had, social distance seating, and they had a live stream element. I did the Mohegan Sun Casino, again, limited.
Now, what was that like?
The casino? I lost. I gamble, and then but it was fun. People were there. They came to see me. It was one of the things that I was very pleased about when all this thing hit was people's humanity has risen to the top because they realize we're all in this together. It's
right.
And you still got to do what you got to do. You just got to adjust to it. Like every afternoon, I go for my Save My Marriage walk.
Right. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, we've never been home. And most of you guys are comics, so you know that every Thursday afternoon, our ass goes to the airport because we want to sit on a plane because we got a show.
Right.
So that rhythm of not traveling and stuff and just being home and, and noticing a bunch of shit, like, because this is her kingdom. She runs.
Right.
My wife runs the house.
Yes.
I don't want to run it. I go out. I go out, kill the food, drag it home. That's it. Next thing I know, we got dinner.
Right.
So I'm used to that. So I'm not used to her rhythm and stuff. So when I'm home, I'm noticing shit. I'm like, honey.
Yeah, my wife, after 3 days, she's usually used to going like, "Don't you have a gig to go to? Like, why are you still here? 3 days. You're kind of a presence after 3 days."
Yeah, you just like it's like fish. You start going bad.
Exactly.
Fish and relatives. You're just looking at them like, how long is this going to go on? So I'm looking at the house and I'm like, honey, why don't you try and do it this way? And she looks at me and I said, look, you're very busy. I'll tell myself to go fuck myself. You don't have to worry about that. I'll just stay out of your way. And that's when I realized I got to go for my walk. Because
I go to my brother-in-law's house and he's got a chair. He's out by the stream, and it's just a lone chair. And he goes, sometimes I go out there, I go, I know, you're married. I get it. You just sit in your chair and stare into the woods.
Yeah, right by the front door. I got this little couch right by the front door. Because that's where I sit when I go, honey, you ready? Yes. Yes means 15 minutes. That's where I sit. Yes means I'm going to finish what I'm doing and then I have to pee. So that's what yes means. So I sit there with the dog, and the dog's looking at me like she said she's ready. I go, come on, you haven't figured this out by now?
Right.
We got 15 minutes.
Yeah. You got time to read the Old Testament and still, which shoes is she going to put on?
Honey, in the beginning there was light. Did you know that?
Oh, man. I want to talk to you about Boston because we were talking before we got. You're so tied into the Boston scene, and you never grew up here, but you're friends with Lenny, you're friend of Dennis Leary, and
tied in by proxy. Because of my friendship with Dennis and Lenny, you know, everyone thinks I'm from Boston because we did a lot of things together. Like I think the first thing we did together. Well, I knew Lenny.
How did you meet him?
I met Lenny from stand-up. I remember the first time I saw him. Was in makeup at the VH1 stand-up spotlight in Pasadena. Okay. Rosie was hosting it. I was in a chair getting makeup, and Lenny came. And you know who Lenny was. Everyone know who's Lenny. What people from other planets know who Lenny is. He's just, you can hear him from space. So he came in, and Rosie, I think Rosie was there. I was bullshitting with Rosie because we're both from Long Island, where I'm from. And Lenny, I go, hi, Lenny, I'm Adam. I know who you are. Can I go ahead of you? Yeah, okay, fine, Lenny. Whatever you want to do. So we became, you know, and he made me laugh. And I said something that made him laugh. And we just, you know, a passing thing. And that was it. Cut to, I'm reading with Dennis for this cop show. And me and Lenny are paired up as partners. And what we found out pretty quickly was we could improv together. And that just made whatever idea Dennis had for those two go in a different way. And it was funny when the show got canceled. We did another show called Lenny and Adam, a pilot for Comedy Central. It didn't go, but that's where I met Lenny. I met him as stand-up first, and then we worked together on the show that The Job was called. It was a cop show with Dennis. And
that was a good show.
Yeah, that's right. Really met Dennis. Yeah, I actually okay. I'll tell you a story. So we're doing the Job. We're like second, third episode in, very early on, Jim. I'm in the makeup trailer, right? Dennis came in. He's smoking. 6 o'clock in the morning. Comes and kicks the chair. He goes, "Hey, I didn't know you were a stand-up. I saw you on Letterman last night. That was funny." Which should indicate to you the state my career was in at the time. I just thought you were an actor. So that's what that was.
I love Lenny. I remember going to a gig, and then Lenny took me to some restaurant somewhere in Boston. Mm-hmm. There's all these guys in the back room, like eating in the kitchen and drinking, playing cards. And I have like $3 in my pocket, you know. Like he looked at me, "Don't worry, kid. You know, I'm not going to let you get hurt." Oh, I get to leave alive? Okay, Lenny. Good.
You get in a car with Lenny. It's you got a 50-50 shot of ending up where you were supposed to be going.
Right.
It could happen. It could not. You know, either way, what you're guaranteed is he's not going to stay. The lines on the road are just a suggestion to Lenny when he's driving.
Right, right.
So,
taking on faith. Now, how did you meet Dennis?
I met Dennis at the Chelsea. I met him once before. I met him doing stand-up. I was hosting. I just started, Jim, and Carrie Hoffman would give me late night spots. I
remember Carrie, sure.
Remember Carrie? Yeah. So he ran stand-up New York on 78th and Broadway. And he would give me late night spots as a host because I was willing to do it. You know, the regular show was over at 10:30, 10:45. It was the next show, and it wasn't a lot of people, but I could keep whatever people's attention there. And he would give me that spot. So shit, yeah, I'll do it. It's free stage time. So I did it, and Dennis came in to work on something. I think he was shooting something, or he had to work on something. And I just, you know, this was during the days when every commercial audition was, "We want an in-your-face cookie to sell these cookies. We want you." That's when Dennis said "in your face," because I think him and Ted did did those interstitials on MTV in the black and white when Dennis is ranting and smoking. So yeah, people trying to sell shit. So that was it. So he was working on something and I was hosting. So I remember it. Dennis doesn't remember. So
he was like the last guy after the Marlboro Man that was still cool while smoking cigarettes on TV.
Yeah. We were shooting a scene in a hospital. Dennis was smoking next to an oxygen tank. I'm like, I said, "D, what the fuck? It's an oxygen." He goes, "I'm blowing the smoke the other way." I'm like, that's not what triggers the explosion. It ain't the smoke.
We did a show at the Boston Comedy Festival, and Louis Black and Dennis Leary are talking in the green room at the Cutler Majestic Theater. And the guy goes, "You have to go tell those guys they can't smoke back there." I go, "Yeah, that's not going to happen."
Yeah, it's not.
He goes, "Well, if you don't, I will." I go, "That would really be a mistake, but I'm not going to stop you."
Good luck to you. Good luck to you.
Not to Dennis Leary going out on stage with a lit cigarette. some asshole just told me I couldn't have a cigarette.
Yeah.
And drops it on stage.
Dennis was smoking in Bloomingdale's men's department.
Why?
We would do.
Why would you go to?
We had to do a photo shoot there for some GQ thing. This was during for the cop show, so we had to do a photo shoot there. It's noon. We're in the middle. It's Bloomingdale. Right. People are shopping. They give us a little Chinese, Japanese screen. We sit behind that, and it was an ashtray and cigarette. He's taking pictures and smoking right there. This is all new clothes. There's Leary smoke all over everything.
Oh man.
We would smoke because we were all smoking that. We were all smoking during the job. We were all smoking during Rescue Me. And it was funny. I did those Paley Center things you do, those the panel bullshit things you do.
Yes.
So I'm doing one of them, and I'm doing it for Nurse Jackie. But I get a question about Rescue Me, and it was some theater student. She goes, what was the difference between the shows? Because one was a very masculine energy, and this is kind of a feminine energy. I said, well, the place smells better. Jackie smelled because Rescue Me. It was pretty much Dennis's trailer was the barracks, and that's where we all hung out in the trailer. It was an open door; you could walk in. ESPN's on a loop, and we're all smoking. We were all smoking,
and everyone's betting more money than they're making that day on the.
Well, there was a lot going on. I'm not going to say that.
Right.
Smoke.
How did the shoot go? I don't know, but the Celtics beat the spread.
Yeah, I don't know. Pat's covered. So we would the smoke would just be billowing out of everything. It looked like we elected a pope. It was just smoke coming out of every friggin' thing, and it was on everything because even if you couldn't, even the guest stars, because the whole place smelled like smoke. It was a friggin' fireman show.
Wow.
So yeah, it was. We were all very much a band of brothers. More so on the job than Rescue Me, but that was when. That was the original Peter Tolan, Dennis Leary.
Those are both great shows.
Yeah, but that show was lightning in a bottle. Rescue Me was great. I was so proud to be a part of it. But for the camaraderie that carried over from us to Rescue Me, the job was an incredible experience.
Now you have a new podcast, and I wanted to talk about that because you started it in July. And is it COVID helping it or hurting it? You've had some great guests.
I started a podcast in July because I'm on the cutting edge, Jim. I could see that.
You got out of the 8-track tape business. Boom. Now I'm at the podcasting.
I made all that money from Betamax, and I figured, what am I going to do with this cash? Maybe I'll put it into English beef. What could go wrong? So I started it. I started it in July, and I did it very much just as. What happened was this little studio you see me in, where it looks like I'm sitting on Sesame Street.
Right.
I built this little studio in my garage. Here, take a look. It's actually Abbey Road.
Oh, nice.
The exterior of Abbey Road. Yeah, it's the exterior of Abbey Road, and on the other wall, I don't know if you can see it. Hold on, I got this wacky cam. Anyway, I got Abbey Road desk from studio number 3. I have a cutout of the desk, and I'm a Beatles fan. So I started this podcast, and my wife is on it with me, and she's like, it'd be nice to have one at the house. I don't have to travel. So, okay. So
you've had some big acts. You've had Leno and Edie.
Yeah, I built this little studio, and like 45 minutes before they said, we got to stay in, I got it done. So I can pump out content. So yeah, I've had Jay did one for me. Kevin James did one for me. Nathan Lane did one for me. Edie Falco did one for me. John Scurdy did one for me. Oh, you know who I had on was great? Joe Buck. I know you Boston don't like Joe Buck, but he was great. I had Tony Kornheiser and Will Bond from PTI, a couple of race car drivers, Tanner Faust from Top Gear, or Rutledge Wood from Top Gear, Richard Hammond from the UK Top Gear was on. I had an astronaut on, Katie Coleman. She lived in space for 6 months.
Wow.
And she's a flutist, and a flautist, and she played the flute with Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull.
Oh, I remember. That's my first concert, Jethro Tull.
Yeah, she played a duet with him. I've done nothing with my life, Jimmy. Nothing.
That's a lot of pressure.
Nothing. COVID. I was reading Shakespeare wrote King Lear during a pandemic. I've written 6 dick jokes, and I'm talking to you from my garage. This is it.
Fantastic.
Now, when you.
I had all those guys on, and as a matter of fact, today I just spoke to the director of the Belushi documentary, Michael Imperioli from The Sopranos was on.
That's going to be great, huh?
Yeah, it was great. It's nice to talk to these people. It's nice where I can, like Nathan Lane. I've just been a fan forever, and I didn't realize we have a mutual friend who said, Oh, Nathan thinks you're funny. I said, you think you do the show? Send him an email. He emailed me right back. I mean, shit like that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of bumping into people and saying, "Hey, you want to do my show?" And
Here's what I found out, Jim. Doing a podcast, it's like selling insurance to your friends. You first start with your own Rolodex. You just like,
right.
Jim, people don't plan to fail; they fail to plan, and I don't want to see that happen to you. You need to think about your future, Jimmy. What about the kids?
Not only did I do his podcast, he sold me a timeshare.
Yeah, I did his show, and I got a whole life.
I vacation in Long Island every year. It's beautiful.
Yeah. But it's really a great community. Like I did Corolla's show and he did mine. And then they said, call this guy. And Ryan Sickler has the Honeydew podcast. And it's just to keep, it's a nice community to be a part of. And when you feel helped, and I want to help other people who ask me, that's why, I said, shit, yeah, I'll do it. It's fun.
Now, a friend of mine, Matt Malley, told me that you beat Adam Carolla out for your Top Gear.
I don't know if I beat him out. Well, I don't know if I beat him out. I think it's just Carolla had done a pilot for NBC. For those of you who don't know, Top Gear was a UK show, and we're the American version, sort of like the United States. It started as a UK venture.
Yeah.
All that taxation without representation, and is this your fucking tea? I'll show you. So we were the American version, and NBC started a pilot, and I just think they wanted a clean slate. I don't think it was a choice between one or the other. They just wanted to redo it.
Okay.
I guess. I don't know. Look, here's what happened.
Still talking? Is you see him parked across the street staring at you with angry
I did his show a couple of times. He's great. Believe me.
Honey, Adam Carolla's outside again. He still looks pissed off.
Yeah. He's in another Lamborghini now. He's doing fine, Jimmy. Trust me.
He's put like dog crap in a bag and lighting it on fire and that fuck.
He's sweet. He's a nice. He's always been very kind to me. He did my show and he helped me promote my stuff. So I like him a great deal. He makes me laugh, and he's the same kind of kid I was. It's working class. He worked in construction. I worked in construction.
I worked in construction too.
Yeah, it's all Dennis's father too. Me and Dennis had a couple talks about both our fathers have that mechanical ability that just goes way past us. I don't have that then go-to statement. My father does. My father's got it. Dennis's father's got it. Mine manifested in cars. My father loved cars. So my love of cars came from being close to my dad, if I wanted to be close to my dad. So I understand how they work. I can't fix them.
Right.
Here's the story. When I was a kid, I wanted to be like my dad because he was my hero. So I'd be working on the car, and it wasn't going well. Oil was leaking, blood spurting, wrenches are falling. My father's in the doorway. He's got a Lucky. He's smoking a Lucky. He puts that cigarette out. I'm furiously trying to get something done. Comes over. He puts his hand on my shoulder. He goes, son, you're going to have to get a job. You have to work at something the rest of your life. This ain't it. Can you sing? Can you dance? Can you tell jokes? Because you'll be hungry if you got to do this shit here. This ain't working. So, but that's where I love cars because it reminds me of my dad, and I understand how they work. Well, I used to. Now the fucking carburetor's gone. I got no idea.
I agree. As soon as they get rid of carburetors and
that's it. It's fuel injected.
As soon as they hook a computer up to it, I'm out.
That's it. Call the guy. That's what happens. You pick up it's a chunk of plastic. There's nothing there.
Right.
Call the guy. You don't need a wrench. You need a flash drive. All right, I gotta
go. Man, I trying to think of the what was the show I saw you? I know what it was. I want to ask you about. Did you one of my little things I was doing a little research on you? Did you live with Anthony Acumia for some?
No, I lived with in high school. I lived with Kevin James.
Wow!
When we first started doing stand up, our little community was.
And that's how you got into it.
Well, I was into it. Me and Kevin joined at the same time. We started stand up on Long Island at the East Side Comedy Club. So
is that Minervini?
I was Minervini's joint. Yeah.
Okay.
And what happened was we were funny, but we didn't have enough time to do a show on our own. And colleges, we did something where we were working colleges together because he had enough time, I had enough time, and then we could do improv together because we both came from that background. So we could fill a college show. So that's what we were doing. We were just traveling. Then we got an apartment together, and we were just a traveling road show. Then we got Candid Camera. They brought Candid Camera back on CBS with Dom DeLuise, and we were two idiots out there hiding in a luggage compartment or just doing dopey shit out there. So, But no, me and Anthony, I knew Anthony when I was a kid. We used to play paintball together. We're on a paintball team together. And
Wow.
another guy, Anthony and his
What
brother.
a small world, huh?
Yeah, it's everyone's, and it's like the Boston community because everyone knew everybody in Boston.
That's
I
right.
didn't even know I opened for Stephen Wright at Manhattan College, and this was at the height of drive on parkways, park on driveways. I don't get that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was Stephen's height. So I was just thrilled to do it. I never thought I'd meet him because those gigs when you open for him.
Oh yeah.
I don't see anybody. I opened for Lionel Richie at the Greek Theater, and so I was. Here's the deal: when you're an opening act, for those of you who don't know, it sucks. It just sucks. Take the money, and they're always going to say, "Look, if this goes well, we're going to take you on the road with us."
Yeah,
they're not
right.
fucking taking you on the road.
No.
They're not paying for airfare. They're not putting you on a bus, and they're not feeding you. They're getting some other putz in the next city to do exactly what you're doing.
There's another guy in Cleveland that's getting his hopes up right now.
That's it. They just got the story. They tell some other poor slob. And the only reason I got the gig was because what happened was I was opening for one of the Judds. I don't know. Zeppo, one of them. I don't know. I was opening for one of the Judds at a performing arts center out here. And they're born again Christians, so you got to be clean. Okay. You put on a suit, don't say fuck, give me the check, right? So I do it. I go home, and Saturday morning, I'm sleeping. I got a little bit of a hangover. The phone rings. It's my agent. Hello. You want to open for Lionel Richie? I'm like, now? He's like, tonight, the Greek Theater. What happened? I don't know. Somebody said fuck. There was a blowjob joke. Get a cup of coffee, and the road manager's going to call you in 15 minutes. Okay. I get up. I get a cup of coffee, and sure enough, it's the road manager. Jim, I can hear him shaking. He's like this. Hi, Adam? Yes. This is whatever the fuck his name was. This is whatever the fuck. Yeah. My friend is Zeppo Judge. Is Zeppo Judge? Yeah. Her tour manager, and said, you did a great job last night. I was wondering if you'd be interested in opening for Lionel Richie. We just want to make sure it's a good fit for all of us. I said, all right, listen, I'll put on a suit. I'll stick to my time. I won't say fuck. Perfect. Be here at 7:00. That was it. That's all they want to hear. So you get there. Now, the Greek Theater, Jimmy, it's an amphitheater. So, and it's going to suck. Comedy needs a roof. It doesn't, the laughs got to bounce back. Comedy needs a roof. Unless, of course, you're doing a drive-in for the Boys and Girls Club. Then it's important
to joy.
So I get there, and I knew it was going to suck. It was like people just coming in. What are you doing? So I just do my 20 minutes, right? I walk off, and they say you can't look at Lionel. I never thought I was going to see him. I was going to get out, get the check, and get out before traffic. So I get up. This is when Sheila E. was touring with him. Sheila E. was in the band. So I finish my set. I don't hear nothing. I just do what I do. I walk off, and the whole band is lined up in the wings, and they're clapping. Sheila E. is clapping. This giant bass player, they're all clapping. This giant bass player looks at me and goes, "Say, man, you did great. Usually we just stand here to watch motherfuckers die." And Sheila went, "You did great, baby. It's just tight." And she just hugged me. And I had a Crush Groove fantasy. Yeah, so I was like, wow. Yeah. So I'm sitting there, I'm taking my victory lap, and it's all uncertain to me because I didn't know this was coming, and I still got show adrenaline going. So I'm sitting there and I'm talking to these people, and I see Lionel. He's not that big. I see Lionel walking this way, and he walks by, and just out of instinct, comic instinct, I just looked in his direction and I just said, "Hello," and they said, "No, you can't talk to him. No, don't look at him. He's going on." Mother of God, what are you doing? Lionel can't take it. I don't know how I got into that story. We're opening for somebody. Anyway, that was the story.
No, I'm still opening for people sometimes. I opened for Travis Tritt. I had a similar thing. It's like, I had a country music radio station, and they were throwing T-shirts into the audience. Whoever calls the loudest gets a T-shirt.
Yeah. You know what I opened for during COVID when it first hit? I remember Everclear.
Yeah.
All right. So the band I get a call from my manager. I'm at my in-laws' house. I get a call from my manager. Do you want to go to Florida? I'm like, are you watching the news? This is when Florida was on fire.
It's like, bring out your dead.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to go to Florida?
You want to go to Florida for what? Testing? What the fuck am I going to go to Florida for? I go, are you watching? No, I'm not going to go to Florida. He goes, there's some guy wants you. He's putting together, it's a private show with Everclear. Look, tell him I loved Santa Monica. Father of mine makes me cry, but I'm not going to Florida. I hung up. Phone rings again. It's my manager. Jim, apparently I have a price. I'd like to say it's got more than one comma, but it doesn't. So I said, okay, I'm going to Florida. I bought a new mask. I washed my hands. I put on gloves, held my nose. I went into Florida. They showed me, and everything's all sanitized and everything. This was the height of all the bullshit. And they showed me where the stage was. And I said, all right, I'm parking right here. All right, so I parked right behind us. I went up, did my sound check. I bought my own mic. I bought a Shure 58. I travel my own mic now. So I brought my own mic. I plugged it in. I did my sound check. I unplugged my mic. I sat in the car. I said, knock on my window while they're introducing me. And I walked out of my car. I went on stage. I did an hour. I said goodnight. I walked back in the car. I drove back to the hotel. I never saw anybody. That was it. Tell Everclear I said hello. I got to go. That was it.
I was just imagining your agent. He's like, look, we took the deal in Florida. Well, I got a lot of acts, and we decided if we're going to lose one, who can we call?
And it turns out I wasn't.
Jim McCue's available.
Yeah. It turns out I wasn't really opening. There was a guy before me. There was a There was a guy before. I forget, was a guitar act or something before me, and I he goes, just do one. I'm fine. I don't care. I went up, did an hour, talked to the people, nice people.
Right.
And that was it. Then I went home. But
yeah, that's the spot I would get, by the way, on the show. I'd be the guy before you,
right?
That absorbed all the virus. I'm the virus sponge.
Yeah. I think virus are like Doritos. Take all you want. We'll make more. You don't have to worry, Jim. There's enough virus to go around, James. Look at you. Yeah. Why me? Why am I not infected? Always the bridesmaid.
Yeah, I just did a show. Where was I? Down in Connecticut at the Katharine Hepburn Theater, and they had taped off the first 2 rows now indoors.
Right.
So they go down to like 25% occupancy. Yeah. And they're like, that's for nasal spray. I was like, well, I'm kind of known as the nasal spray comedian. You're taking a lot away from me, Usually I close with my nasal spray and like a laser show, And the guy doesn't laugh at all. He's like, seriously? I go, yeah, whatever. Just,
That's. Where am I next? Oh, I'm at Hilarities in Cleveland.
Oh, I love that club.
Isn't that great? Nikki's room is great.
And I love that place.
I love that place. They even asked me, goes, do you want to come out? Yes, I'll be there.
Good people.
I actually said, I told my wife, I said, honey, I got an opportunity to go to Hilarities. Go. I didn't get the sentence out. Go. So I'm doing that, and I'm doing the Draft House in Arlington, which is a fun room.
Nice.
So yeah, but again, it's limited seating. It's like you walk on site. What did I just do? I did one. I just did some. It's all a friggin' blur now, Jimmy. I did one of the heliums, and social distance. We sold it out, but there wasn't people.
Yeah.
I was like, does everyone know each other? I can introduce us. It'll take no time.
Yeah, we did the music halls. Starts out 900 seats. We ended up with they could only sit 200.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like you're doing a rehearsal with just the crew.
Yeah.
They're spread. But actually, in the theaters, it's kind of nice anyway because they're all set up perfect. So.
Well, here's the thing: is we got to keep doing what we keep doing. You got to keep.
Right.
It's like nature will find a way.
Right.
One of my favorite things is when I see a tree grow through the sidewalk. I love that ever since I was a kid because it's like man putting down concrete and nature going, yeah, fuck you. I'm growing up right here. And when I was a kid, I used to love to see the tree grow through the sidewalk.
I like that.
Have you guys, I mean, even this festival and stuff, it's not like, it's.
Oh, we've never done anything like this before. It's usually
no one's ever done anything. But that's the thing. The spirit of cooperation is great. I did a gig in Pennsylvania. They put up a big tent, and people in Pennsylvania came with their own chairs, their own booze. They put heaters in the tent. They made a stage out of 2x4s, and it was right by the railroad tracks. And Italians don't like going to the railroad track because we don't think we're coming back. But I went, and it was people overcoming shit, and I was so happy to be. I did an hour and 20 minutes. I made them all laugh, and I had the best time because we were all in it together. In the middle of my set, the car alarm started going off, so I had to improv for 5 minutes to kill time. I got cars fighting with each other, but everyone was pitching in together, and I guess I have a felt sense of that willingness to contribute to each other's benefit that I'm enjoying.
Yeah. Now, you say improv. Are you a crowd work guy or, you know?
Yeah, I'll do crowd. Here's the thing: is I will, I got my written shit that I got to keep
Right.
writing and doing stuff. Crowd
right.
work is always fun because it's the uncertainty that we're in together,
Right.
and that makes it fun. That's the knife edge shit. And then now I'm at the point where I'll take an idea and make it look conversational.
Right.
But it's not really sleight of hand. I'll say, look, I've been thinking about this. Let me ask you a question. And then I'll take that idea and work it out with the audience that way. But it's all, if you build it, like I do an hour now, and I've learned to build hammocks where I know. You know this when you're doing a long set.
Yeah, I do it a lot. I do it a lot too. What I do is I have I know what I'm going to end on. I know where I'm going to start again.
Yeah.
And then I kind of mess around and then I go to the next.
Yeah.
The chunks, the chunks.
I know where the chunks are, I know what I need to get from here to there. I know how to get into the audience and get out of the audience. I also know that when the checks come out, I'm going to lose half the audience. So on a Thursday night, I see how they drop the checks. All right. On a Friday night, I know they're going to, if they start again in the same pattern, they'll drop a check on that place. So I'll start working the other side of the room.
Right.
So now I'm pulling focus where I can get their attention, and then I'll drift back. So by the time Saturday first show's out, you figured out the pattern of the room.
Right.
For the best you can. I mean, if they start dropping checks on the other side, nothing you can do about it. But
right.
But the energy is going to dip then. So where do you want to be, and how do you want to get them back to finish strong? So
right.
Yeah.
Hey, I got some questions coming in from our chat room. If you don't mind taking a few of them.
I'm here.
Okay, Eric Lampert, who I happen to know, he's a good guy. He wants to know, what is your worst gig ever?
My worst gig ever was Hofstra University. When I just started, I was hosting Mirror Stars. They didn't even call it lip sync then. It was called Mirror Stars. Some bullshit. I go up, I do 5, I die. They didn't like me at all. Jim, I was as well received as a cold sore on prom night. And I had to keep going out because I was the host.
Oh no! So they hate you every time you come out.
Every time. By the third time, I went, these fuckers aren't even singing. All right, I'm at least doing this shit on my own.
I'm the bad guy.
Oh yeah, I'm the asshole. This is real. I'm the asshole. These motherfuckers are making it all up, and that's what you want. Our next act. That was it.
I did one in Rhode Island. It was a private thing, and everybody I asked says, "I'm a contractor. I'm a contractor. I'm a contractor." And I go like this to the other guy: "Hey, start the car. I don't think we're gonna get out here alive." Now that I look at these guys, I don't know.
Yeah.
Technical difficulty.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I'm okay. All right, so more questions. Now, I don't really understand this question, but maybe you will. How long did it take you to develop the voice of your podcast?
Define the voice. Is it?
I don't understand that. You do you have a voice like?
The tone of the podcast, the actual, the message in it, or because I do have the point of view of the podcast. The point of view of the podcast. Here's where the podcast comes from. First of all, thank you for the question. I'm glad you enjoy the podcast. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. But I'll tell you the impetus of how I came up with it, and hopefully that'll answer your question. When I was listening to it, I realized I had to do something. I had to do something in that space, and a lot of people had asked me to do one, but I never knew what the show was going to be. So I wanted to communicate. I wanted to communicate a feeling rather than just doing an interview. And when I was a kid, the best night's sleeps I ever had was when I was upstairs and I heard my mom and dad and their friends downstairs laughing.
Right.
I don't know why. That was a great feeling.
Yeah.
There was always laughter in the house, and it always went from laughing to helping each other out. It was that sense of community. So that's what I wanted to project. I knew that feeling is what I wanted to start. So I built the show with my first 5 to 10 minutes is me, my wife, my 2 friends, not shooting a shit, but discussing a topic that connects to a one-on-one interview that I do with a celebrity or somebody interesting and cool, right? And then, like any good group of friends, we talk about them when they leave. So after this interview's over, we do 10 or 15 minutes on how their experience and what they did affected other people and affected them, and what lessons and messages we can get from them. And I'm just having a really good time doing it and realizing that, okay, I have this question. How can I ask this? Like I've been meditating for years, and Michael Imperioli from The Sopranos is a Tibetan Buddhist. So half the interview was his career, the next it was meditation. I'm like, look, Michael, we both know that there's no salvation in the world of form. You know, it's like, all the shit you're thinking about connects to other people, and when that happens, it's a nice thing for me to experience, and the feedback I'm getting from the audience as well to experience. So
I love that this is 30 minutes you're never getting back.
yeah, it's 30 minutes you'll never get back.
Forget about it.
The whole show used to be 30 minutes, but now the interviews are 30 minutes because we can't get it all in 30 minutes. So now the interviews are 30 minutes, but the show is it's a lot of fun, and it's being very well received, and the interaction I get from people emailing questions and stuff. Like sometimes I'm talking to, who do I got coming up that I'm talking to? I forget, my producer knows, but I'll put out like while asking questions. Like I had Richard Hammond from the UK show in London. And I said, anyone, which is where London is. So I put out to the car fans, got any questions, let me ask them. And then people get excited about it. Oh, I remember what I did. I interviewed an FBI profiler that worked on the Bundy case.
Wow.
Yeah, that was creepy. I'm pretty sure he did it, Jim.
Yeah.
So I put out
I don't want to jump to conclusions.
Yeah, you know. So I put out the word, and a bunch of people asked this question, asked that question. So it serves as a vehicle for other people's interest. So it's a fun show to do. So I hope that answers your question. That's how I came up with the show.
That's a answer. I didn't know the question or the answer. Now I know both. I think you did a great job there, combining both worlds into a piece of business there. This is, you could have expected this was going to come, and it came from this next question from a Boston comedian. Casey McNeil wants to know, what is the best gig ever? The TV, or what is the best gig, TV or stand-up? I think what he means by TV is acting on TV or stand-up comedy live. What do you enjoy doing more?
The good news is I do a lot of different things because I have ADD.
Right.
So they both serve best and different. Here's the thing. I'll tell you what I like about both. One is the immediacy of stand-up. I'm the writer, producer, director, and I put myself in a position with the audience where we're going to go someplace together. So my energy and their energy, there's a synergism that makes it greater than the sum of its parts. And it's something that can only happen in that moment. And that's, Jim, that's when I'm just a vessel and shit's coming through. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You know, when they're laughing and everything gets bigger. Michael Jordan said the rim looks like a big old bucket. You know, time stops and you're fully present. That happens to me every time I go on stage, depending on how long those moments last. But I get that hit of adrenaline. Right. Or that sense of being is a better, more accurate way of doing it. The downfall or the downside of that is you're alone. You're traveling fucking alone, and being on stage is the prize. But I got to go. I get 2 different planes. It's not. Look, I'm not breaking rocks. You know, I'm not doing that. But you're by yourself, and I'll be honest with you. I can't stay out as long as I used to. I used to stay out, 3 weeks at a clip. I can't do 3 weeks anymore. I can't do 2. I can push 2 when I don't want to.
Yeah, like half of my book was cruise ships, and it's no one wants to hear you complain while you're out there. No. So I'm out there soaking my Irish balls in the Caribbean, saying, but you're soaking them alone. You want other people to soak them with. I think that's the point of this the message. If I could give a Christmas message, is no one wants to soak their balls alone.
Yeah, the lonely ball. That's the reason you have 2 balls, so they're not alone. So that's the good part about stand-up. The best part about TV is the community. You're on a set. You're with other people. You're finding things together. And that was one of the greatest professional experiences have been with Dennis a couple times, because he encourages that. He encourages the improv and shit. And that's really good when you can come up with stuff together. And being in a space where you can not be in control and be willing to be comfortable in that uncertainty. Because there was, I learned a great deal of acting from Dennis because he gave me a chance. He fucking gave me a chance. He wrote a monologue I did for Needles, my character on Rescue Me. And he wrote it, and he left me a nice voice message after it was over. And I worked real fucking hard on it, and I was terrified of it, but I did it. And the fact that he took the time just to leave a message, hey, fucko, you did a good job, and there's other shit in there as well, meant a lot to me. Yeah. So that sense of community, that sense of being in the emotionally artistic danger that's required to do your job with other people. That's a great feeling too, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think sometimes of it, like, a lot of people don't realize Dennis Leary, he went to Emerson for acting. He's not just some guy that they pulled out of a bar. He had a background in acting.
He did. He's a skinny Irish fuck.
Yeah. But like, now, did you have training in acting?
Yeah, I went to. I was doing stand up. I came out to. I started studying when I was a kid at Gately Pool, this little place in New York City. And then when I came out here, I got my first gig on a sitcom, and I loved it. Jimmy, I fucking loved it.
What was the sitcom?
It was called Flying Blind with Taya Leone and Corey Parker. It was on Fox. Remember when Fox first came out and it was 10 o'clock? Look, we got to go. We ain't got the money for 24-hour programming. We'll see tomorrow. So that's what it was. So I came out.
Play the national anthem. Yeah. Let's get out of here.
I came out to do the Tonight Show, and I auditioned for this sitcom, and I got it. So I had to stay out here, and I had such a great time on the show, and I had no fucking idea what I was doing. The director was, remember Jerry Bonners, Jerry the dentist from the Newhart Show?
Oh, yeah.
He was directing it. I'm looking at this guy
kidding.
like this. All right. Michael Tucci from Grease was in the show.
Wow.
And Tay Leone was stunning. I said, I couldn't fucking believe where I was. So they say, Adam, camera left. And I'm like, all right, where did it go? I have no fucking idea.
My left or your left?
Yeah, I got no clue. So I bullshitted my way through this whole thing, Jimmy. But I was like, I like this enough that I at least got to learn the vocabulary, know what I'm doing. And I was always afraid to learn acting. So a lot of other comics I've spoken to, let me know if this is your experience. I was afraid to learn how to act because I was afraid that I wouldn't be funny anymore as a stand-up.
Right.
It's an unfounded fear. And if any comics have that, stop it. It's going to make you a better stand-up, a better writer, and a better actor. But I started studying with Stephen Book out here, who's still doing it. And it's best training I ever had in my life. Because what it does is you're conditioned to, the body gets used to doing it, and then when you're on set, like I got a movie. I did a movie with Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
And I vividly remember a scene where we left the script, and he did something, and I followed him. And it is an exercise that I was taught called follow the follower. It means when something is initiated, you follow it. Just go with that instinct. And it happened without even thinking it. You're in that space, and they used it in the movie. And we were walking somewhere and doing something. And we both looked at each other and giggled. It was like, I didn't know that was going to happen. I was like, I didn't know either. So those are the moments that you remember. I did it a great deal with Edie Falco too.
So you started out, I never knew that you started out on, now, I mean, everything's kind of changing now. I mean, you went from starting out on a sitcom to all these TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're working on Why Women Kill on CBS, and it's streaming. So like, okay,
streaming means it's an hour and a half to explain to my mother, Jim. That's what it means. Ma, I'm on the show in CB. I'm on the show. What channel? Ma, it's not on a channel. When's it on? Ma, it can be on anytime you want. Do I need the goddamn fire stick? Okay, Ma. It's, you know what it is, Jim? It's easy.
Fire stick.
It's easy.
Best reference of the night.
Yeah. It would be cheaper and more convenient to get Lucy Liu, Jennifer Goodwin, and Alicia Coppola and Mark Cherry, who wrote it, to go to my mother's house and act the fucking thing out. That would be a lot easier than trying to get her to stream this thing. But it's fun. It's from Mark Cherry, the guy that created Desperate Housewives, and it takes place in 3 different decades: the 60s, the 80s, and current day. And it's about 3 relationships of women who kill. Basically, I don't want to give anything away.
Okay.
And what's fun for me is my decade is the 60s. So I get to go back and I'm in period clothes, and they dress.
You get to die in bell bottoms.
Oh yeah, no, 60s. I got a hat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a little pork pie hat.
Oh, nice.
Before the bell bottom. This was 60. I forget. It wasn't a bell bottom because I play Leo Moscone, the dry cleaning king of Pasadena. Don't make me believe you haven't heard of me, James.
Nice.
So I get there, and Alicia Coppola plays my wife, and our neighbors are the ones. Jennifer Goodwin, they're the ones that kill. So basically, Abner, I think she's a witch. Get away from the window. So, but it's a lot of fun, and it was funny because I went to the prop master the first day. I said, listen, I think my character would have a 62 caddy. Now I happen to know we can get a hard top. And the guy looked at me. He's like, who are you?
Who are you and why are you in my dressing room?
Yes. What are you doing? I ended up with a 55 Ford Fairlane.
You make that work.
Yeah. But it's fun. I mean, it's a fun gig to do. And we shot, we shot Hancock Park, which is all the mansions out here. And as we're driving, one of the Teamsters, you want to have fun on a set? Listen to the Teamsters because they've seen it all. They know it all. They're driving me through Hancock Park. See that house over there? Yeah. That was Muhammad Ali's house. Get that. Nope. That's where the champ lived. Our holding, Lou Rawls' old house is where they put us in holding.
Wow.
And once I knew that, I'm looking around for shit. I'm like, this is amazing. Yeah. It's the thing about being out here. When I say out here, I'm in my place out in California. Is everything we saw, it's still fucking here. The Troubadour is still here. You know,
Yeah.
I just the Chateau Marmont, all the stuff, the hijinks that happened there. It's still all here. And
I mean, that's the business. You know, if you're in Pittsburgh, you might see steelworkers. If you're out in LA, it's show business. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
listen, thanks so much for doing this. This is great. I
had fun.
had a blast. Now, tell us where we can find your podcast and your.
For our podcast, 30 Minutes You'll Never Get Back, wherever you get your podcast. My new album debuted at #1 on iTunes. It's called It's Scary in Here. I drop my podcast drops every Thursday. I implore you to check it out. I'm having a good time doing it. Send me an email, let me know what you think, and I appreciate all the kind words.
All right. Well, thank you. This is whether you knew it or not, this is the big comedy podcast you're just on.
This is it?
This is it. It just happened.
I should have dressed. Are you kidding me? This is the big comedy.
You should have sat on a taller chair. I don't know.
I want to thank Mona for coming. Mona, Eric, Casey, Kassan, I want to thank everybody here. It wouldn't be a party without Kelly Regan. I'm so glad you guys are here.
Kelly's the
Thank
best.
you.
Look at that.
All right, we're gonna roll credits if we have the technology to do that. Everybody, thank you for supporting the Boston Comedy Festival. Especially you, sir, for coming on and doing this. I appreciate it.
It was good. Be well, be happy, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.